Buongiorno, everybody. I actually shaved and showered, not really for this video, but just kind of did it to do it. But yeah, I'm gonna take advantage of this moment in time where I look like a civilized human being, and we're gonna start this next video. This video is gonna be slightly different from the other ones because I kind of had an idea to switch it up a little bit. Instead of having this video pretty much be the exact same as the last one, I'm going to switch it up a bit by showing you guys how to play the song rather than how I wrote the song, because I just don't want repetition, you know? I don't want the same thing to be coming out all the time. So I'm gonna switch it up a bit, and it's gonna be kind of cool. Alright, so the first riff in the song is the intro riff, and it's a pretty easy riff. It starts on the 3rd fret of the A string, and goes to the 5th fret of the A string, and then the 6th fret of the A string. And it's all hammer-on, so you pick the 3rd fret, and you hammer on to the 5th and the 6th, and you go. And it sounds like this when it's picked, but it's all hammer-ons, so obviously it'll sound better once you have it plugged in with an amp or whatever. But you just fit it with chugs right after that on the low E string and the A string. By the way, the tuning of this song and every other song on the album is drop C sharp, so it's C sharp, G sharp, C sharp, F sharp, A sharp, D sharp. That's the tuning order of the strings. So the riff, when put together, sounds like this. And at full speed, it's... The first part of the verse riff starts off with a strum of the low G string and the A string, and it just does a simple open chug, and then it goes to the 5th fret for 3 strums of the low G string here. G sharp, A, whatever. I'm just gonna call the strings what they would be called in standard tuning. So the A string. It's starts on the 5th fret of the A string. Look at that shit. Anyway, for 3 strums. So far it goes. I usually try to slide into it. And then it goes to the 6th, 5th, and then 3rd fret of the low E string. And then it follows up with an open chord. So the whole riff, slowed down, goes. The second repetition of this riff is the same thing, except for instead of landing on the open chord at the very end, you do 1st fret of the low E and A string. It sounds like this. So that second repetition of the riff sounds like... And the whole riff put together is... And to speed, it sounds like... The second half of the verse riff, after you got that part down, is the same finger positions, except you're strumming the notes differently. So it sounds like this slowed down. So you're doing a lot more chugging in between those notes. Up to speed, the riff sounds like this. The chorus riff is actually a pretty easy riff. You're basically putting your fingers in the same finger position, and you're just kind of going up and down the fretboard. But basically the chord that you're going to be doing, the chord shape, will be putting your index finger on the 5th fret of the A string, putting your ring finger on the 7th fret of the D string, and putting your pinky finger on also the 7th fret of the G string, and then you'll be putting your middle finger all the way down to the 6th fret of the B string. So the chord shape will sound like this played separately. And together it's like this, which is a minor chord. So that's the chord shape, and basically the picking pattern is, here if I can get closer to the camera to show you guys. So it goes A, D, G, D, B, G, D, A, D, G, D, B, G, D. So when put together, it sounds like this. And you basically move that whole thing up 3 frets to this, and then back down 1, and back down 1 again. And then to repeat the riff, you just go back down to where you started. So the riff slowed down sounds like this. And up to speed, it sounds like this. The solo riff is actually pretty easy. It's basically just a mixture of chunks and a snippet of the verse riff. It's just gonna go like this, and this is what it sounds like slowed down. So up to speed, it's gonna go like this. And once again, the outro riff is kind of a different variation of the verse riff, except there's going to be even more chugging in between some of the notes there. So the riff goes like this, slowed down. Oh, before I do it up to speed, I'm going to kind of show you what that riff is. You'll notice the second half there, I was playing a full chord, which would be a full power chord, which would be your index finger on the 5th fret of the A string, your ring finger on the 7th fret of the D string, and your pinky finger on the 7th fret of the G string. Basically, it's the same chord as that minor chord from earlier without the middle finger. So yeah, it's just the 3 strings instead of the 4 strings. So it goes. And you'll notice that I'm palm muting the power chord for the in-between chugs, and I'm palm muting the open chugs too. So instead of going all open, I'm palm muting. Kind of adds a little bit more grit to the chords as opposed to hearing them kind of open. I personally like doing that pretty much every time I'm alternate picking open chords like that, because it really, once again, dirties it up. So yeah, that's it for the guitar for this video. Programming drums, I mean, you guys have seen enough of that. at this point. I will be showing you guys some demo snippets just kind of the song, which will be following this clip, and it will start right about now. First off, I just kind of wanted to show you guys what the intro riff with the guitar and drums sounds like. At the very beginning of the song, I have the left rhythm channel playing separately without the rhythm on the right side playing, and the drums don't kick in until halfway through, so it kind of has a different vibe as to what it would sound like if the drums and guitar were immediately from the get-go playing at the same time. Since I was showing you guys before how the song is actually played on guitar, I thought it would make sense to give you guys some context as to what the riffs sound like with distortion on them. Because earlier in the video you only got to hear them acoustically without any kind of distortion or amp. So I'm going to basically show you guys snippets of every riff in the song because I think it really only makes sense to do that. So here's the first verse. There was a little bit more happening at the end of that first verse there. I kind of stopped it early because I don't really want to show the entire song quite yet before it's finished. I'm just going to show you guys kind of snippets of it so far. But yeah, this right here, what I'm about to play is the chorus riff with the drums. The chorus riff is very similar to Hangar 18 in the way that it's, you know, a minor chord progression and kind of like the ascension and the descension happening. But basically, I took a lot of inspiration from Metallica and Megadeth, so, you know, it only makes sense that's shining through a little bit for this project. The solo riff is actually sort of similar to the solo riff in one of the other songs I was doing that had the groovy riff in it, where it was kind of like a more laid-back song with like slower drums. But I didn't want it to sound too similar, so the guitar riff that plays during the solo is kind of a slower, groovier, chugging riff. But the drums, as you can see here, as soon as it's the solo, it's just double kick pretty much all the way through. I didn't want to have it be too similar, so I basically kept the drums going fast while the guitar kind of laid back a little bit. This is what it sounds like. I don't want to spoil too much of it, so I'm not going to show you the outro. You'll have to check the song out when it's actually finished. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the change of pace. Instead of it being, you know, a video based on the writing of the song, it was kind of just a video based on how to play the song. I'm thinking about doing this exact thing for the next video as well, so we're kind of keeping things fresh instead of going back and showing you guys how I wrote it. I think it would be cool to see actually how to play it. So yeah, video number 5. And the last video of the guitar videos that I'll be doing for this album. Next video you see will be vocals. So enjoy, thank you for watching, and get excited for vocals. I'll see you in the next one. How do you zoom in with this thing? You can't? That sucks.